Hello, good afternoon. It is a Sunday afternoon here Sunday evening here in St. Paul's, August 7th. Actually, I'm not in St. Paul right now. I should correct that. I'm actually over in Lakeville. Just got done with a little Penn State Alumni Association get-together. It was supposed to be a student send-off, but, well, no students actually showed up. As a matter of fact, not too many people showed up, but, such is life. It happens sometimes. I'm sure everybody was worried about the rain that could have happened, but we were stuck in a bubble. It was cloudy, overcast, it happens. But why I'm talking today, something that, just feels a little bit weird for me, just personal observation, whether it's at an occasion like today. I mean, it's nothing intentional against any of the hosts, because they can't help it who shows up. But also, and something I noticed over at, more so AMS than the AMS annual meetings I was at compared to NWA, even though NWA you feel it a little bit too. And also just overall, sometimes when it comes to, meetups or even stuff at work and everything, it's a little weird when you sort of feel out of place. For reference, I graduated high school in 92, college in 96. But, when it came to everybody there, the groups that were there, they're mainly there with the Alumni Association today, for example. It was either everybody above, say, about 2004, 2005 graduating class, up to about even as late as 2010 and higher. Or those people, who graduated in the mid 80s. In my age group, which would be, you'd be thinking graduation years between 92 high school years, between 92 and 2000, somewhere in that range. People more towards my generation. Really no one there, to really be able to relate with. Add to it that, let's face it, I mean, I also a little bit am just, I was a little bit of oddball in some ways, because, a lot of the people were talking about partying at the different bars at Penn State, for example, and, well, I never really had the big bucks to be able to go partying every weekend, getting drunk off my butt and everything else, God forbid, as a meteorologist, trying to just do what I can to be able to get in the weather field. And, it's sort of, when you feel out of place, it's just like a weird afterthought. It's like, what do you do? Who do you talk to? What do you talk about? You try to listen into conversations. Everything is going out, try to do everything you can, but it just, for some reason, doesn't quite work. You end up being sort of like the third wheel on an occasion or something. At AMS, it sort of feels, at AMS, especially 2019, but also a little bit 2020, it also felt that way. Because, let's face it, you had a whole bunch of students there, a bunch of the young people, which is great. You had also a whole bunch of people that were retired, which is also great, hey, the older end of the career, department heads and different higher up professors and everything like that, that's good. But as for me, people in my age group, I was sort of like more of an anomaly than anything else, and, it's kind of weird. I don't know what it is about my generation. I don't know if it's just where I am. Out here in Minnesota, or, even at AMS, just, the way everybody's work schedules are and stuff, where they are in their careers, or just overall. I mean, it's it just feels kind of just off. Like, whose group do I try to fit into? And I mean, even with some of the stuff with, like some of the different things that I run into going into, as I said, like different conferences, stuff outside of reunions. I mean, where do I fit in? Where do I really fit in? Kind of an eerie feeling, if you think about it. Because what do you do? And for someone like me, it just feels weird. And I'm taking a little different route coming up in Apple Valley today. I'm actually going to take Highway 3 up. If you're wondering where I am, I'm at the Lakeville-Rosemount border, and I'm going to be heading north. So I'll be going towards Robert Street and St. Paul and everything. You'll be able to see downtown. But yeah, it's just kind of a lonely feeling, because it's like, where does your, I don't know how anybody else feels about it, especially in my age group. But, like you hear about this whole battle between the millennials and boomers. You hear about all the different things between, what all the young people want. And it's like, where do I go when it comes to, my generation, Generation X, but not just my generation, but in general. I mean, how do I try to make conversation? I mean, when it comes to social networking, I'll admit, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. I have something on Instagram, but I rarely use it. TikTok, I looked at it because I think Haley had something on there when she was really young, but I've pretty much discontinued that account because I didn't really see the worth of it. And as for Snapchat, yes, I have an account on there, but I haven't looked at that in ages. If I ever deactivated that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, as for, but being stuck in the middle of everything, I mean, I know, like say, I know James Spann will sometimes complain about, well, where do us old whippersnappers go? Or, what do we worry about the new people? And others, they say, well, young people, well, what do we do? But it's like, everybody forgets. And when you forget a generation, when you have people who are trying to get somewhere, trying to get back going, and there's only two extremes and nothing in the middle. I mean, I could see why people will sometimes be attracted to some of the weirder elements politically. And I'll even talk to my friends here, because let's face it, some of them I have to wonder what the hell they're thinking. It's like, where, keep saying, well, common sense when we grew up. Well, two things. One, yeah, if you use that common sense, then why are you doing, and why are you doing, and why you're believing what you believe, for one. So especially my generation, some of the people in my generation who lean much more to the right, it's like they're now following people who want to basically take away not only their Social Security, but their parents' Social Security. And let's face it, I may not have, my mom and dad are both dead, but I don't think anybody else's mom or dad would be able to survive right now if some of these GOPers that some of my Gen X colleagues believe in were to actually get into office. They're greedy as blank. It's just absolutely nuts. But at the same token, I mean, I could see some arguments about, maybe going too far left, but in this country, anybody else, you look at any other country, people like Bernie Sanders and the AOC, they're actually just at best center left in like any other country, like France, England, Japan, Australia. People here in the U.S. have not seen a real left-wing party. I have, when I worked in Canada. And trust me, we're nowhere near that. Anybody who thinks we're there, to be bluntly honest, especially I hate to say it, in my generation, anybody who thinks we're there isn't looking out for reality. They aren't looking out at what is actually going on. They really aren't. And if I get hell for it from my friends, so be it. Somebody's got to say it. And unfortunately, as a meteorologist, one thing in our field, we say things a lot of times that, people don't want to hear. Whether it's tornadoes coming your way, you're about to get blasted with snow, you're going to be slip-sliding along with an ice storm, it's going to be blazing hot to the point where you wish you were in a pool, etc. But, it is one of those things. It's, saying the truth, we've got people say there's an identity crisis in the U.S. Well, it doesn't help when you shut out when a whole bunch of people shut out in the middle, whether it's the middle incomes, whether it's the middle age group. I mean, one other thing I've seen, like, say, in LinkedIn or over, Business Insider or even CNBC, all the work they're saying about business leaders transferring from, like, say, the baby boom over to the millennials. It's like, guys, you already forget about Gen X, the ones that actually should be the managers by now. But they aren't because, you sort of screwed all of them over. Thank you, Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton. Both of you did a pretty good job with that. And I'm sorry, but at times it just makes me wonder, what do people want out of people like me? And I mean, I even see it in the job search. I've seen it in the job search in the past. It's like, okay, you want experience, I got it, but then it's like, no, you have too much, or no, you'll be too expensive. It's like, what? Just wanting to be able to pay the bills normally is too much? To me, that I don't know what other people think, but business people, I'm sorry, but that's an insult. And I know TV people, they're basically, you have station managers either from way back that are way old in some of the smaller markets, or way young. And let's face it, you're being given wage pressures and everything, but it's like, you expect somebody with about twice as much student loan debt as 15 years ago to go off the same wages as 15 years ago, and also much higher rent prices, and expect them to survive? Expect them to take that job? Really? I mean, even the common sense I grew up says that doesn't work. When is it? It's like, it just makes no sense. But other than that, some of my other thoughts, will sort of run the gamut here. Minnesota United last night, holy hell, did those suspensions and our defense suffer? Where the heck? Dane St. Clair gave up 4 goals. Yeah, it didn't help. I mean, I hate to say it, he probably needs a new pair of gloves going after the All-Star break. But when you don't have anywhere near as much defense helping, really doesn't do you any good. Good defense, helped us get some really good goaltenders as well. Be nice to have it. But at the same time, we also have some really good offense now, and why can't we have great offense and good defense? One of these days, I guess we'll find out. Penn State football season, it's looking to be pretty decent. I'm hoping we have a good year this year. We'll see how this NIL stuff is going to be managed. If you don't know what NIL is, that's that name, image, language money that all the students are getting, that all the people are getting. It's basically now, put it in a quick summary, it's the payments that used to be underground that are now above ground. So, you've got the money that was always given, by the donor, by the alums and everything that was under the table. They were like, okay, we'll give some of these students hot cars, we'll get them some babes for the weekend, stuff like that. And everybody would be, and that's how the big programs would survive. I mean, let's face it. But now, and I hate to say it, but the CX7 that's ahead of me, holy shit, we're in a 55 zone and you're only doing 48. I don't care, it's cloudy, it's dry. But, yeah, the NIL is going to change a lot of things this year. We're going to see what it does to college football. To be honest, I hope it breaks some of the monopolies that came with this Southeast Conference. I really do. Then again, Texas and Oklahoma coming along. I hate to say it, but they bring big names and they bring decent alumni bases. But as for the actual sports, they're both decent. Basketball schools, baseball schools are really good. But as for football, Texas has been middling over the last how many years, and I don't know who really wants to play there these days. And, Oklahoma, they're always contenders. It's like they're always the contenders, but they choke in the playoffs. So I don't see how that's any different. How that's going to play any different this year. So, I mean, that and the other thing I will say is like Penn State, Big Ten getting in UCLA and USC. Why? I mean, I know there's more than a few people saying this is the greed in college sports, and yeah, it is. But if the NCAA can't get control of things, if they really can't get control of things, you want me to be bluntly honest? Just get college athletics out of the hands of the college and just go club style already. Just go like, say, what the Europeans do for the soccer ladders. The NCAA has like 300 and some schools, and I think the NAIA has like another 150 or 200. Why not just lump them into, like, say, divisions of 64 colleges. 64, depending on the sport. Divisions of 64 colleges, and make it like, say, 8 divisions of 8 or 4 divisions of 16, however you want to do it. And then just bring out relegation promotion. And you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, basically it means the top teams from the lower division would automatically go up to the upper division. So, like, say, in football, if you were to use an example, if you were to be like, say, North Dakota State over in Fargo, the way your football team's been going, you would have been promoted up from 1AA up to 1A, up to the top division. because of how good your football team is. Top four divisions, top four in each division would be pretty much promoted, and maybe make it so that in a division, have it so that when whoever wins the championship gets the first pick of whatever division in the next league you get, and then so on and so forth. And then if you are one of the 4 teams at the bottom, like if it's a 4-division thing, then basically, like, say the bottom of each division, or if there's an 8 team, you can actually make more if there's 8 divisions, you can actually make more money in a playoff scenario. Basically make it so that if it's the bottom 6 teams, like bottom 4 teams in each division, you suck that bad, you're going down. And I know you're going to say, well, wouldn't that cause problems for conferences? Well, they're already breaking up and going nuts anyway, so at this point, does it really matter? I mean, if we're going to go this route, where we're going to be changing conferences every couple of years depending on TV deals, you might as well just go to pro rel rate and just say, okay, basically just say, okay, top four in the lower divisions, you go up. Bottom 4, you go down. It would actually make a pretty good thing for the bottom 10 lists that are out by ESPN, and also a friend of mine, Galen Kent, who's supposedly a humorist, but whatever. He's also a libertarian candidate, but his lists are actually pretty good when it comes to the bottom 10. I mean, teams that do suck, you can tell if they really suck, and he's done that pretty well. So, why couldn't we just have pro rel and get it over with? Besides, anybody who says, well, what's that going to do to bowl games? They're already bastardized. They really are. If you're not in the college playoff, what good are they? All they do is basically fill up a bunch of hotel rooms and gouge a whole bunch of alums to try to be able to watch their team for one more game. That's it. There's no meaning to it. So if that's going to be the case, then why don't we just go pro rel already and get it over with and have a championship in the lower division mean, yeah, you get to base the bigger guys now. And I mean, in the lower divisions, you'd probably see more shifting. Like say at Bloomsburg Division 2, maybe 1AA, or maybe go down to Division 3. And then you'd have, like, say, a Kings, who's a Division 3, maybe go up to Division 2, I mean, all types of weird stuff could happen. I mean, the teams that are consistently good, you won't have to worry about it. But if you have a really bad year, I mean, yeah, it might cost you TV revenue and everything else, but, hey, if you really believe in the capitalist way, pro rel is the way to go, because, you got to prove it on the field that you deserve to be there. Otherwise, if you suck, you gotta go division down. If you're great, you'll go division up, and you'll find, and everything will eventually fit into whoever gets, like, basically however we get it. I mean, if Penn State, as long as we're a decent team every year, we'll stay in the top division. We won't have to worry about it. But if we ever have a really bad year, like we did a couple of years ago, we'd have to possibly worry about relegation. But even then, we didn't have to worry about relegation. But the other part of it, as weird as that sounds, it'll also make some more interesting matchups. Because let's face it, if you have to face the people within your own ranking, you're more likely to face better competition than if you schedule, like, say, sort of like Alabama, where they schedule a whole bunch, like 4 cupcakes for their out of conference games, and then You have and then you have your big games within the schedule, so they're unbeaten. But if you beat 4 cupcakes, what's it matter? But if you're in a situation where all the teams are at least semi-decent, maybe Alabama doesn't go unbeaten. Maybe they actually, end up with 2 losses or something. Plus, then you can worry about the money going through the lower levels of sports and just let it be wide out in the open. That's what you got to do sometimes. But that's just my thought on it. As for what else is going on, this afternoon, while I was at the Penn State gathering, a couple minutes after, sorry I didn't get to your pictures sooner when you actually saw the funnel cloud. But yes, there was actually a funnel cloud sighted west of Pond Hill and Wapwellupin earlier today. It looks like it was over on, say, Shikshinny Mountain. And, the type of environment was marginally conducive. You had a whole bunch of tropical air, so am I really surprised about it? Not really. It is what it is, and you actually saw it. So, yes, you said on your post, your first funnel cloud, yeah. Hey, now you know what to look for next time. And also a little hint for everybody who watches this. If you actually do see a funnel cloud, or worse, you actually see a tornado. Difference, by the way, funnel cloud, it's the twisty cloud, but it never actually touches the ground. You don't see any debris going. Where if you actually, the tornado, the only way you can tell that is that, yeah, you actually see shit flying around. You see, shingles, you see dirt, see crops. Hopefully you don't see a cow. Twister fans will know why that is, but that's the difference. But either one, report, call it into 911, give them your best location where you think you are, give them approximate direction and approximate distance. You don't have to be exact. I'm not asking you to be exact. Not everybody has those type of tools. But if you're pretty close, it's close, close enough, and you have a photo to back it up. Guess what? Weather Service is actually going to take that seriously and could actually have to issue a tornado warning. People need to know what you're seeing. In the weather field, we want that knowledge. There's a reason why I plug that MPing app every so often on my either on my Facebook or my Twitter, especially Facebook. It's because as much as we forecast it, as much as we think we know what's going on, you actually see it. We're basically trying to interpret it. If you actually see, if we're predicting a whole bunch of sleet and it's actually freezing rain like no tomorrow, we want to know that because that makes a big difference in impact. Basically, glaze ice basically takes down power lines, where for sleet basically just makes it a total pain in the butt. But if you're seeing like thunderstorms with hail, we want to know the hail, and that's where you carry us guys in Gen X, we still know about a thing called coins. If you describe it like, say, a P or a dime or a nickel or a quarter, those are fixed sizes. Hen eggs don't. That's put in some of the Weather Service warnings, but to be bluntly honest, don't use that. Marbles, because of the different size marbles, are too variable. If you have a ruler around, then you can definitely use that. There's no reason why, basically just be sure you have it right next to any hail, so we know what size it is. Oh, shoot, forgot to reset my mileage. But anyway. And yes, we're right now in West St. Paul, about to head towards downtown. Just so you know. But, you know, it is what it is. And we want to know what you're seeing. I want to know. And also report it to your local weather service office. I mean, Northeast PA, for example. Luzerne, Lackawanna County, Scranton, Nanticoke, even Hazleton. Report it to the Weather Service Binghamton office. If you're in Berwick, Bloomsburg, Danville, Williamsport, you send it to State College, either Facebook, Twitter, whatever. They will take your report. If you're, say, down in Stroudsburg, or even Carbon County, McAdoo, you got to call Philadelphia. I know that's weird, you know. That's weird, but you know, Northeast PA is one of those weird junction zones, so you got to just roll with it. What else is going on? Well, primary day here in Minnesota on Tuesday. I mean, the expected candidates for governor, I mean, Democrats, nobody's running against Walz that I know of. So he should get his thing easy. Republican Scott Jensen is supposed to have the endorsement, but who knows what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen when people actually vote, because they still, I think, have a couple different people in there. There is no runoff, so if you get fit, so plurality can win. So, I mean, I've seen things happen before, like say in a state rep race for my representative district a couple of years ago, where the endorsed person ended up person endorsed at convention actually ended up losing in the primary because of different organizing. So it is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna. That's why you will always wait for the final vote. And I don't care what Trump or anybody else says. You know, it's simple. You've got to wait for all the votes to be counted, whether they're mail-in, whether they're cast before Election Day. And oh, damn. I should have gone around. Oh, well. Oh. Forgot if they were doing this closure, so I should have made the turnoff when I did. They're working on that steep hill going down towards downtown. Oh, but, you know, we're going to be voting, so at least we don't have any propositions like what happened in Kansas. Now, that was an interesting little ballot measure there. But, you know, to each their own. Most states have already had their primaries. We're one of the last ones. When it comes to state primaries, I mean, and I know some people say, where was John Fetterman when it comes to campaigning right now? And yes, we're right now on the west side of downtown St. Paul. We're on the west side, the other side of the river. It is more Hispanic side. Actually, pretty a lot of good people here. So, but as for what was I talking about? Well, anyway, we'll swap off that topic. I mean, we're also gonna go here a little bit. I mean, you know, hockey, you don't have to worry about too much yet. Baseball, how can I say, the Phillies are doing decent. Twins, they're actually doing pretty good. They actually got some of their pitching taken care of. God forbid, we needed it. You know, Eagles, our quarterback situation's gonna be, oh boy. I don't know how our season's going to be. It's either going to be really great or it's going to really suck. It's not going to be anything different. Anybody who thinks otherwise, got something else for you. Okay, well, I'm going to be going across Wabasha Street today. As, what else is on my mind as we go across the river in about 3 minutes. Oh yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll be heading out to NWA, speaking of meetings, like I was talking earlier, I'm going to be heading out to the NWA national meeting over in Pittsburgh in a couple of weeks. First off, anybody has any good ideas about what to, I'll be staying over to Station Square area, so anybody got some interesting stuff for a person who's only gone through Pittsburgh and not actually stayed in Pittsburgh for more than a couple hours? What's there good to do there when I'm not dealing with the conference? What time? Entertainment. I mean, I think the Riverhounds maybe have a home game there, maybe not. But other than that, anybody got ideas? Let me know. At the conference itself, though, one of the things they are going to be talking about, one of the topics, it's going to be a touchy one, is going to be about the severe weather awareness down in the Southeast with that big outbreak we had in December. And you're wondering which one, because there was a couple. One actually gave the Twin Cities some tornadic storms, and then you have the one that actually took out parts of Kentucky. Well, I'm talking about the stuff that basically went through Arkansas, Kentucky. The candle plant that got obliterated when it got hit. Or if you're talking also like use a candle plant, or if you're talking also the facility over in Edwardsville, Illinois that got hit. But one of the things they're going to be focusing more on, say, Kentucky with the long tracker. Kind of interesting, a little thing about that I know about now, because it just came out a week or two ago. That plant, the candle plant, the one in Kentucky, where news first reported that basically the managers and the people working there were uncomfortable working, and some of them actually got canned for it. Well, according to OSHA, maybe they were right in not being there. 7 violations when it came to that candle plant as part of that little area. Downtown St. Paul, by the way, over on by the Science Museum over to my left, and Excel Center coming up on the right. But there were 7 violations. One of them, apparently there were some really, really badly cluttered hallways. Now, why? I don't know. And damn, there's a lot of cops here. Must be a big concert tonight. But you're talking a lot of problems with blocked hallways. There was one count that they actually got fined for. Max fine was $7,000, by the way, which is a big joke. Two counts for actually not having an emergency plan, and one of them for not having a proper emergency plan for storms, and second, looks like also account for not actually telling the employees, if there was a plan, what they actually had. That's not, one thing I've learned over at RBA, the one thing I've tried to also emphasize while I was actually knowing people at the safety department, actually being part of the safety committee when they had one. I think that'll come back one day. But tornadic plans, one of those things hit, you're in trouble. So you've got what you've got to do is you've got to actually see like what is going on. You've got to figure out where you're going to put people. At least at our plant, we have most of that stuff down, no problem. We don't have, like, say, an EF5 rated shelter like they do it over from here, but everything else is good enough that at least we should be able to get through the majority of any storms without an issue. I mean, that much I'm certain of. Majority of any potential issues, we should be good. We're at least a lot better than the Amazon plant or the one in Kentucky. But one of the things that came out, being with the preparedness, I hope to bring up, and let's face it, I'm going to try to, is the fact that why, coming up, there's a safety conference and a trade show. It's going to be like, say, about 3 weeks or so after the NWA conference. My big question, of all the exhibitors that are listed on there so far, not a single weather company that advises other companies at all. Not one. I mean, we keep on emphasizing weather safety and everything, but why isn't anybody showing up? I mean, it's a national show. It's not exactly like Minnesota or something, even though companies should be showing up at the state level too. But, we want to be talking about weather safety. We want to get companies weather aware, but we're not showing up there. And it's pretty much an embarrassment. Let's face it. It's an embarrassment. So, what are they going to do about it? Well, we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. But, it's one of those things that, since I am working in a factory right now, it's, hey, somebody's got to speak up, and I can't be the only one that does it. As much as I know some people say, nobody else thinks about it. Well, there's a reason why nobody else thinks about it, because nobody else relates to it. I can. Then again, when it comes to me speaking up, let's face it, I tend to be one that has to go with a lot of the unpopular issues, so why am I surprised? And God forbid we should actually do something instead of just saying, oh well. And we're almost home. We're over at Rice and Pennsylvania, about to make the final basically two more turns. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I try to do good to my friends. Try to do good for as many people as I can. I know I can't please everybody. But hopefully at NWA a couple weeks, I mean, one of the reasons why I go to the conferences these days, I'll admit, is I want to be among my own friends, among my own colleagues. It gets pretty lonely when you're the only weatherman in the plant. I mean, at least I don't mind answering everybody's questions. Still sucks, though, when you're looked at kind of strange for the global warming and stuff. It's like, hey, data's showing this. What am I supposed to do? Don't blame me. Blame our past actions. Okay, this person's turning here at the parking lot for Wyzetta. And yeah, that the big thing is I get to network with people in my own field. I get to see what's going on with some of the new hardware, software. Hopefully you get to see some really good stuff. Talk to some friends I've acquired over the last couple of years. See some hopefully newer people. But when it comes to, otherwise, I mean, people would say, why would you go there instead of other vacations? Oh, I'd like to. But I mean, as well, most of the places where these meetings are held, let's face it, I actually have not been to most of these cities. I mean, NWA AMS Phoenix 2019, that's the first time I've been west of the Rockies. Boston for the AMS 2020. That was the first time I was up there since my band trip. And I finally found out, by the way, whatever happened to Charlie on the MTA. He became a transit card, disposable transit card. Not exactly a good way for your fate to go, after your wife conveniently keeps forgetting to slip you one more nickel to get off the damn train. But and also Tulsa, that's my first time I was actually on the ground in Oklahoma. So this time it'll be Pittsburgh, and then AMS Denver, which I'm planning to go to as well. I mean, that'll be my first time in Dent, Colorado. I mean, several of my other family members have been up there. My older brother for training over in Aurora. So is my dad. He was up in Aurora. And for me, it would be my first time not only in Colorado, but also outside of being in an airplane tube for a couple hours. That'll be my first time on terrestrial land for a week at 840, 850 millibars. So it'll be my first time being at altitude for a decent amount of time. And I know that's going to take some adjustment. I know it may not be the prettiest for me for the first couple days, but hopefully I adjust. Hopefully, it should be a pretty good time. Hopefully we don't have a massive upslope event going on that time. But then again, you'll either be a massive upslope or a massive Chinook, I don't think it'll really be anything different. I really don't. I've predicted the massive upslope flows, especially like say in not only in Denver, but especially in Calgary and Edmonton, so not like I wouldn't know what to look for, but to actually be in it, different story. Oh, as for what else? Well, that's about it, because I'm just about home now. That's what's on my mind on this Sunday, August 7th, at now 6 o'clock Central Time. So, until the next time we record, probably in Pittsburgh, that's been another episode of Up the River. Have a good day, and goodbye.